Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Second Act Actors. I'm your host, Dr. Janet McMordie, and I'm still a medical doctor, simultaneously trying to pursue a career in acting. My guest this week is Tricia Black. Tricia is a actor, comedian, improv performer, fellow East Coast school human. I mean, they're originally from the East Coast. I went there for school, but I feel like we have that East Coast undergraduate connection that if you didn't go through it, we talk about this in the episode, you'll hear. If you didn't go through it, you don't really know what we're talking about. Anyways, we have an incredible conversation about literally the life, the universe, and everything. I'm so excited for you to hear this episode. I'm going to get right to it. Please enjoy the incredibly talented, legendary comedian, Tricia Black. Tell me your story. How did you get into this crazy business?
Okay. It's a great question. So I went to Mount Allison. I'd always been the background in high school productions, like chorus kind of thing. And then I went to Mount A, and after a couple of years, I kind of came out of my shell a little bit, and I started doing musicals, and I produced two of the school theater companies that were at Mount Allison at the time, Garnet and Gold and Black Tie Productions. And I got really good at producing small cast musicals and things like that, which got me in with Live Bait Theater, which is in Sackville, which was the best. And I did dinner theater for ever. I loved doing dinner theater. Truly, I think dinner theater made me the performer that I am today, because it was so grueling and but also a really good training ground, because I don't know if you know about East Coast dinner theater. It's the best thing ever. It's so fun. It's a 3-act show. The performers are the actors, the singers, the musicians, and you serve. And while you're serving, you're in character the entire time. So you're in this character for 3.5 hours a night. And so that's where I learned how to play every instrument I can play. It's where I became a better singer, a better improviser. It's the coolest job that is so underpaid. And it's it's a really cool, it's not community theater because you're getting paid. So it is a professional gig. So, but it's I don't know, and it's very specific to the East Coast, that style, I find. Mm-hmm. I've never found that version anywhere else, and I think it's so cool. So I did a lot of that. I joined improv troupe at Mount A, and did improv there for a year. And then my friend was moving to Chicago to go study at Second City in Chicago, and I just which is the first time in my life that I was on a whim did something. I'm not the type of person that's an adventurer. I moved to Chicago with him. I had never flown anywhere. It was my first time on a plane. The only other place I'd been was New York, other than PEI, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec. I hadn't been out west. I had been nowhere, and I was I'm going to Chicago. I'm going to do it. It was so good, and I learned so much. I learned not only just about my craft, but also about myself. And it was really hard because I couldn't work, didn't know a lot of people. Came back, did more dinner theater. Then moved back to Sackville for a year and did theater and worked at Joey's in the kitchen and did improv on the side. And then I kind of just was I'm going to go to Toronto. I'm going to do it. I got into a show with this theater company that I'm now a part of and help run, called Tweed and Company Theater. And they had me do a show with them. And then I stayed. I worked shitty jobs for so long. I was food and beverage was my jam. I was working at TIFF Bell Lightbox in the food and beverage department. I worked at Massey Hall, which Massey Hall is the best job ever in the entire world. Any job there, take it. They're so good to you. It's the best job. And I just I tried to break into the comedy community in Toronto, which is hard. It's hard when you're new. And so I took classes at Second City again here in Toronto. I got noticed by one of our teachers who was like the best, Carly Heffernan. I thank her for a big part of my career. Was a big advocate for me, and I was very lucky to have met her and like know her. And she saw me, and I auditioned for this troupe. I don't know if you know it, but it's called the Sketchersons, and they did a show called Sunday Night Live. We did it every Sunday. I did that show for 5 years, almost every Sunday. And it's a brand new sketch show every week, and like you rehearse it during the day on Sunday and then perform it that night. It's literally the craziest training ground to learn how to like write sketch. It doesn't exist right now anymore because of, the pandemic. We lost a lot of things, but I did that, and then kind of kept trying and did a lot of stuff at Bad Dog, a lot of improv shows there as well, and then kind of kept building and building and building, and I couldn't really get an audition at Second City. I couldn't get an audition. I don't know why. They just didn't know me, and that's like just how it is. And Carly was like, you gotta see this person. Got into House Co. Did House Co. Had the best time. Had a terrible general audition. You'll probably hear this from a lot of people who go to Second City and have auditions. It's like, it's such a crapshoot because it's improv, right? So you're like, you could have an on day, you could have an off day, nerves get you, whatever. I had a really bad audition, and I was like, shoot, that's the worst improv I've ever done, I think. I wasn't like the worst, but like I didn't feel good about it. And so like I remember just feeling so beaten and like being like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't do this. Like this isn't the career for me. Like when I was younger, I was like, if by 30 I'm not making it, I'm not doing this. That's it. 30 is the age. And then obviously that slowly changed over time because we age and we go, that's crazy. What? Like you can, some of my most favorite actors, especially for women anyway, and like some queer women and stuff, didn't kind of become famous until they were in their 40s, 50s, right? So you're like, oh, that's so cool. So I got at Second City. I had that terrible audition, and I was like, this is it. I'm done. But I was having such a terrible time at my Joe job, like working at TIFF, which it wasn't a bad job. I had a really wonderful manager. He was very supportive of me, and like, but you're not doing what you love, and like your body eventually kind of feels that. And my body was like, we're not happy here. We're not content. We're not doing the things that we love. We're working, 5 days, 6 days a week, and then doing shows on top of that. So I kind of made a decision. I was like, you know what? I'm going to just give up this job. I'm going to try to focus solely. I kept Massey because, like I said, it's the best job, and I loved Massey Hall, so that was literally the best. It was such an easy job, and you got to hear concerts, and you're just going in and you're serving beer. It's like so easy. It's like you're in, you're out, you know what you're doing. And I kept Massey and like worked another shitty restaurant job that was awful, and I was like, what am I doing? Get out. And as soon as I quit the main jobs, and Massey Hall closed that same year. So for renovations, which I find is so interesting to me that I quit those jobs and then Massey closed. So I didn't have Massey. And as soon as those jobs were gone, I got this show at Second City called She the People. And it's like, it changed my life. It was a Second City theatrical show, and it was all women. And it was all comedy about women. It was like the greatest thing I've ever done. It was so fun. And because of that, then Second City was like, oh, who is this? Like, because, I performed, like, it was a good performance. And obviously the sketches were so good. And everybody I was working with were alumni of Second City. So I was like so nervous because I wasn't an alumni, but like I was in there, and it was a really wonderful opportunity and experience. And that cast was incredible. And then I got main stage, and then I got an agent, and then it just kind of like went from there. But it was so interesting being like, as soon as all these jobs that were kind of like, I wouldn't say holding back, because we have to do things to make money. You got to pay the bills. You have to. It's just life. And it's interesting when people are like, I got to do this job. Like I work work well. Like I have a good career right now. I'm like a working actor, but we're in Canada. So I still have a job. I work at Casa Loma in the escape rooms, which is also an incredible job. Wonderful people working there. It's such a fun job. You just go in, you act out and these little plays of these escape rooms, and it's fun, and it's a nice way to socialize, and but it's funny when people are like, oh, I gotta, and like, we have to work. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. We have to do it. As actors, there's going to be so many highs, so many lows, and it's like there's no shame at all. Like, it's funny when you talk to someone, it's like, oh, this, like, stand up just I wasn't getting the same, so I got a bartend now. I go, that's great. That's great. We got to do it. We got to do the thing. You have to figure it out, and it's okay to like have to work, whatever jobs, I feel like I talked forever, so sorry.
Well, like, there's so many things that I love about your like journey to where you are, and I think just tagging on to the end of like needing to work a job, right? I think what's really interesting that I've been told many times and still don't know if I believe it myself, even though people have been like, "Come on," is how much your job can actually influence your acting career in a good way, because you're learning about humans, you're witnessing humans, you're also experiencing life as a human. Mm-hmm. How can that not teach you more things about acting?
Oh yeah, and especially as a comedian, like working jobs is the best way to get any characters. Like, it is the people we meet in service is wild, but it's so fun because it's like, you're like, something will happen and I go, I gotta write that down. I gotta keep that for another day.
I remember when I first started in like my very first acting class and saying to my acting coach, oh, I'm feeling like I'm so far behind. And she was like, excuse me, don't you like see patients all day, every day as a doctor? Those have got to be the best characters ever. I'm like, damn, you're so right.
Yeah. And it's like, and you have this experience too, like working in the medical industry, which it's like, I feel like a lot of, I feel like I've heard of a few people who have transitioned from that world into acting, but it's like medical dramas are like the number one thing on TV, and I feel like you have an inside track to like writing your own medical drama because you would know the ins and the outs of what that would be like. Which is so cool.
Half the time, it is cool. Half the time, it's not as exciting, but you're right.
Also, it means that you're so smart. I go, I could never be a doctor. Like, oh my God, people would see me. I'd be like Patch Adams, always with like a clown nose on. I'd be like, hey. Anyway, I shouldn't cut you open. I know. But I'm like, I shouldn't be cutting you open. I should not be diagnosing you. I'm a hypochondriac, so I'll just assume you have everything.
One thing that has me super curious, it's funny, I'm remembering when I talked to like kind of colleague of yours, Ken Hall.
Ken.
Similar story about coming from a small town and being an actor, being a comedian, being in stand-up, being in improv was not a career that like you were told you could do in your high school careers class.
Gosh, no, it was like if you want to act, be a drama teacher. And you're like, what? You're like, how is that? And like, it wasn't like, acting is such an interesting thing because I feel like we're always working on our craft. You can always be working on it. I find schooling is so interesting for me because I personally, as me, I was okay in school up until like grade 11, and then I started doing a million extracurricular activities. My doctor says I have ADHD. In university, it was so hard to do school, and so like even now, like acting classes, I can't focus. But like I'm an only child, so I've been acting by myself since I was born, basically. Like I used to make little plays in my room. I used to write these like Degrassi, what I guess were fan fiction, but I thought they were just little episodes that I came up with. But yeah, acting was never, ever, ever a thing that was like a career. It was always like, you gotta have a backup. And you still kind of do, which is like, but at least I find anyway, like comedians and a lot of actors who I know are like some of the biggest hustlers in the world. It's like when you're a creative, it's like you have to be creating. So it's like you're thinking, okay, can I write something? Can I pitch a show? Can I start a YouTube channel? Can I do this? Should I just film some sketches and see how they do? You're constantly being like, how can I continue creating and keeping this going, even if you are working your job or whatever? It's like, I don't know if you feel that as a creative. Like, I constantly feel like I have to be doing things and writing and or performing or trying to think of new ways I can be creative, or like learning how to edit or learning camera skills or learning those things so you can just be in the world no matter what.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's interesting you say that because my therapist yesterday, when I was going off on a tirade about this industry, said, no, you learned how to be a doctor. You were always an artist. Mm-hmm. Your job is like a learned skill that you are doing in your life, but like you at your core are always an artist. And I think maybe that's where the like lifelong learning comes along, because it's like, no, it's always like, just like my hair is red and gray, I am also an artist. That's what is me. You know what I mean? Right. It's like,
can I just say that it's funny that your job is that you're a doctor?
my side hustle in case this acting thing doesn't work out.
In case this acting thing doesn't work out. Anyway, I'm just a doctor, and they're like, anyway, I guess they're needed. What do? I can serve beers.
Is not doing well, so I guess I have to do my job.
Well, at least you can feel like. At least you feel like you're like, I'm doing really good things in the world because I'm saving lives and I'm helping people. I mean, and everybody does that in different ways, but I just have to say it's like wild that your other job is that you're a doctor. Like, I don't like it. That's wild. And it's so cool because you're so smart. And it's like, you have to be so smart to be a doctor. Like, it's like, and have the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, which I guess is good for acting too. Oh my gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like patience. I don't know, or like I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but like empathy, patience. But it's like that. I feel like to be a doctor, you have to be so set on doing it. Because like I think I'd go to med school and I'd be like, this is too much. This is a lot of work.
It's interesting, right? I think there's the idea of it. It's funny. The episode that just aired today for my podcast is a colleague of mine, friend of mine, who went to theater school and then went to medical school. So she's in my medical school class. She's a family doctor in Peterborough now. And like, she was an actor, she's a professional dancer. And I mean, we went to McMaster University, which was for medical school, where they are like very hippy dippy, as in like, you can have whatever degree and you can come to our med school. And she was like, maybe not a theater kid degree. I felt very behind at the beginning. But then when you get into the like patient interaction, like, you can teach anyone science. You can teach anyone science. You can't teach a human who innately sucks how to be like an empathetic human being.
And a lot of doctors don't have that bedside
It's true,
manner.
and I think like you don't have to, right? Because it's the whole joke with Ken Jeong, like, but did you die?
Yeah,
but like like there's nothing stopping you from like it's not like you're gonna get paid less if you're a nice person. Well, I could argue that because female doctors get paid less because we spend more time with our patients because we're nicer. But like, like there's no downside to being an empathetic doctor.
Yeah. No,
and I think
it's amazing.
Yeah. I think it's hard when it's like, when there is so much tunnel vision focus in a career that you don't see the outside. And that's when I think you start seeing, in any career, right, the burnout start to happen and the empathy go down.
Right.
And that's when, like, everyone's like, you can be so smart, sure, but like, not the best doctors make. I'm kind of rambling. But,
you're right. It's true. I've had some doctors who have not been very nice to me. And then I have a great family doctor now. She has an assistant who's so lovely, and they send me for anything I think I have. I go, they're like, your blood work is great. You're just low in iron. And I go, are you sure? They're like, okay, we'll send you for heart stuff. Heart's fine. I stopped drinking like a year and a half ago, I guess now.
Congrats. I'm at 2.5 years.
Are you? Congrats.
Yes.
That's awesome. I know. Being from the East Coast, it's like kind of like the light, it's like, and I'm a sober person who goes, yeah, drink if you can drink. I just can't do it anymore, and that's okay.
Yes.
I just got to a point where it became too like I was drinking water, And I wasn't like a liquor drinker. I was a beer drinker. That's all I drank was beer. I was never a big liquor or like anything. And it just got to a point where I was like, yeah, this isn't great for me. And as soon as I stopped drinking and like, this is just for me, my sleep apnea was gone. My bloods were good. I was so far away from diabetes. Like it was crazy. And I started working out a lot too, which has been very, very helpful. But you're like, oh, wow, that's great. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that tangent. What were we talking about? This is ADHD.
No, I'm with you on that one. Well, it's funny, the sobriety thing. Like again, I grew up in Vancouver, where I really got introduced to alcohol was at St. FX, of course.
East Coast, baby, welcome.
Of course.
Now, all we did was drink. That's all we did.
Same in Antigonish. There's nothing else to do.
All you do is drink. There's nothing else to do except go to the fucking pub.
Oh, so cheap.
So cheap. I remember we had but I was young, so it's okay. But we went to Ducky's in Sackville, which was like my favorite place in the entire world when it used to be the old Ducky's, where it was like a hole in the wall and you'd sneak people in the back who were underage. Shh. And it was my friend's birthday, and it was $2 tequila shots and $2 rum and cokes, and we would shoot the tequila and chase it with rum and cokes, and I don't know how we didn't die. All of us. I don't know how we didn't do it. We'd order pitchers of fucking rye and gingers. When I think back to that time, I go, it's because we were young, that's why. Yeah. And when you're young, you can do whatever. But I was like, I don't know how we didn't die. I don't know how we survived. Because it's like the East Coast is what you do. You just drink. You drink. You do.
I have a memory of dollar shots at this pub in Antigonish, but it was $1.50 if you wanted the chaser, and we were too cheap, so we would chase with Hubba Bubba bubblegum.
That's so funny. And St. FX is like known for being a big party school, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like one of the biggest party schools. Yeah. The X-Ring, baby.
I know, right? And see it from space.
You can see it from space. It's my favorite thing. It's so good. But like so fun.
Oh, good memories. Oh, God, yeah.
Great, the best
100%. Best 4 years of my life. 100%. I don't remember it, but I remember it being good. And formative in a way that I can still feel it in my DNA.
Mine was 5 years.
Oh, yes.
Well, and I'll tell you why. Because my first year was bad. Because it happens. And like, I think I truly do have ADHD, and it shows up differently in women. And and my doctor made me fill out a form. I don't know if you know that, but fill out the form. There's like that form you can fill out. And she was like, yeah, you've got severe ADHD. And I was like, I do? Well, that explains a lot. But my first year being on my own, I was studying like just general stuff, but I just had the hardest time balancing my work with socializing and doing extracurricular activities. And so my first semester was brutal. So bad. And I'm not ashamed of it, because I feel like it's so bad when you're ashamed of something like that, when you're like, well, I was 18. I was 18 years old, and you're going away on your own for the first time, and there's a lot of pressure on you to like do well, and there's a lot of work. Like, university is a lot of work. It's a lot more than high school, and I don't think they prepare you for the amount of studying that you actually have to do. And so like I was on the I don't know what it is, but my GPA was like 0.9. It was bad. I was so panicked. I cheated on an essay and I got caught, but like the professors were so nice about it, because I wasn't the type of person to do that. And clearly it was like a moment of weakness where I was just like, I don't know. And I'm ashamed and I don't know how to like talk about it. And then I had wonderful professors who just were like, it's okay. Like, and clearly that happens to students all the time. And then I started doing better. And then I was like, I'm going to switch to business. That makes sense for me in my brain. So I switched to business because I was like, I want to own a theater company. I want to own a dinner theater. I want to do these things. Like I had these dreams of owning a restaurant with a theater in the back and so I was like, I'll go to business. I did really well for a bit. Pre-cal, I was fine. I did great in economics. I was like, but I had good teachers. And then I got a couple of professors who just were unwilling to help. And I got lost in the footing. And then I was like, well, this isn't it. So I'm just going to do a general degree in the things I love, which was theater, history, and music. And then after that, I was like, fine. But like, and I was like, and not that I regret going to university because I learned so much outside of the classroom, like running 2 theater companies. I worked at the theater. Like I did so much outside that I was like, I learned a lot of different skills that I didn't learn in class, you know? But I was like, yeah, university is like, it's hard. And some people are so good at it. And if you're not, and you have like maybe anxiety and it's very difficult. And I think people don't understand how hard it can be sometimes for people. And they can be like, I was a smart kid. Like I am a pretty intelligent person, but when it comes to schooling and testing, I have such bad test anxiety. Like I get so anxious. And I was so lucky in high school that I had a teacher who was my physics teacher, Mr. Dunnett. He was the best. He noticed that I had really bad test anxiety. He was like, your homework's really good. Your in-class assignments are great. He was like, but when you get to the test, something happens. So he was like, when you're doing your test, if you're stressed about it, raise your hand. And basically he was like, I'll tell you if you're on the right track. And it was like so helpful because you're like, yeah, in what world are like, I know we need to know knowledge, but for testing, it's like in life, you could open a book, you can Google something, you can do the thing. And it's like, I understand we need to learn them because there could be scenarios where you're like, you don't have the book. But I do think that his teaching was so helpful to me because I wasn't great at math. I wasn't a math student. Like it just didn't come naturally to me. And he helped me so much. Anyway, I got on another tangent about schools, but I love Mr. Dunnett. So he was a good teacher because he paid attention to his students. He noticed, and it was like really hard. Like I remember it. Like that was like, like 20, I graduated in 2004. Like, you know, that's 20 years ago. Yeah. And I still remember it.
It's interesting. So I think a lot of the people who listen to this show are people who changed careers into acting later on in life, like, or after a first career or doing it simultaneously like myself, and who didn't have the opportunity or didn't ever think about going to theater school, like formal theater school, theater training. Do you think, this is a loaded ass question, but like, do you think it's necessary? Because I've heard a gamut of answers. And I mean, there's lots of acting classes you can take in the city, wherever. But do you think formal theater training is necessary or like something to consider?
Question. It's a tough question because my opinion, I think I have a couple different opinions on this because I think some people love it. And I think that if it's important to you, then that's awesome. And I think that there are things to be learned in the classroom, in theater school, especially if you're young. I think if you're young and you're fresh out of school, I do think that it can help just with like, even if it's not the it's like skills, right? You're learning skills. And I think that it can help you for sure. I think sometimes it is overrated. I think that the best lessons you're going to get, the best training you're going to get which is hard, is on set, in the field, in the rehearsal hall. Like those to me are the best lessons you're going to learn, which is why like when I was in school, like producing the shows and being in those shows and working with the local theater company is how I learned. I think less than what I learned in school. because and it's not to say that you won't learn stuff and it's not a good education, and there are great schools out there with great and wonderful teachers and wonderful professors, and I think every person is different. I think it's a very individual experience, because some people love school. Like, I just had a chat with my friend the other day, and I was like, I don't know if acting classes are like, I don't know how they can help, except that you're just like training, which is like, it's like a sport, right? You have to like train. And she's like, well, I love it because, yeah, it's like, she loves it. And I was like, oh, I guess I didn't think of it like, she's like, I like going, it like feels good to just like work on it. And I was like, you know what? I didn't think of it like that. So I think it's an individual thing. I think you have to try everything. But I think if you get into school and you're like, I think schools can be interesting too, because I've seen so many people who are in school, in theater school, book something big, like a Netflix show or something, and then they are worried about you missing class. And I go, why can't it be that you go, oh, this is an incredible opportunity for you. Let's use that as a credit for you. Because like you go, that's a working opportunity. You're working as an actor while you're in school, but you're worried that they're missing like this play. I don't know. It just feels weird to me that I'm like, it should be celebrated that your student is like working.
Yeah.
And it should be utilized to be like, oh wow, what an opportunity. Okay, great. You're going to miss these things. Great. We're going to use this opportunity as credit. Can you write up your experience on set or do this? That's it. And like not to say that like if I were a professor, that's what I do, but that is what I would do. I'd encourage my students to go out there and try to book professional gigs. Because I think there's a lot you can learn in the classroom, but I think you're going to learn way more outside of it. I really do. Yeah. I think there's skills that are meant for the classroom, and there are skills that are meant for the outside world, the professional stuff that you just can't get in the classroom. If that makes sense. And I don't want to take away anyone's experience from going to theater school and doing that, because I think it's like awesome, and I think that you do better yourself just by doing and rehearsing and learning new techniques and like and all of that, and like you can figure out what techniques you like and what you don't like, and I think that's really important, because like I was like, oh, I like certain things but I don't like these things. I'm like, I'll never take like a what's his name where it's like you ask the question and they ask the same question back. Meisner. I was like, I think I'll go insane if I do a Meisner class, but that's just me.
I'm a sweater.
I'm a sweater. I am a sweater. I like which and for some people they love it. I go, that's awesome. I go, that's awesome that you love that thing and that is for you. And like I'm sure like people who like do like Shakespeare and are like doing these like Chekhov plays, or who are brilliant actors, and you're watching them be brilliant, are so good at it. But I was like, that's just not for me, and I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with it. And like my skill comes from just like watching. I love watching people act. I love like, so like I feel like I learned like my acting like on camera. My first thing I did was I did some Baroness von sketches, and I just like would stay and watch them work, and it's like incredible it was such a good eye-opener of being like, okay, there is such a huge difference of doing screen and stage. Like there's like stage, it's like you got to hit the back of the wall, but film, it's so you have to be so subtle. There's so much funny in subtlety. It's like, and I didn't realize that until I like watched, but that was my learning experience, right? I got lucky and I got to be on this set and I got to watch them work. I just did a show. This is like maybe a tiny plug, but that's coming out on Netflix. Mae Martin's new show, Wayward, with Toni Collette, and watching Toni Collette work, like just getting like we barely had any scenes together, but like we like spent time together, and she's like literally the nicest person. I like, she's so kind and wonderful. But watching someone like her work and like watching her go into character and just watching her, but also watching her like fumble her words and you're like, she's just like us. but then you watch her do this incredible scene and you're like, oh my God, you're such a brilliant actor. But you watch her and then you pick up things, you pick up tricks or like things that she does that you're like, oh, that's a cool thing. I'm gonna use that, or I'm gonna like not use it because you don't want to steal performances, but like techniques or something, you know, like you're like, oh, I love how you're doing this, and like I do think that is so my suggestion for anybody who's thinking about going, even if you do go to theater school, I think that's amazing, and I think it's going to it can only benefit your career. Like there's no downside to doing school. You know what I mean? Like there, except like paying money and whatever, and it's school, and I don't like school. But I think for some people, it's good. So it's like there's no downside to going to school. But if you are in school, my suggestion, and this is when I was in Chicago, what my friend and I did is we went and watched improv every single night of the week. We went and we watched, and you learn. And so anybody who is thinking about, you know, going to theater school or becoming an actor, I think the best thing you can do is watch things and really, really go to things, try, like, I mean, you want to enjoy the show or what you're watching or whatever too, but really like look and pay attention to like how they're doing things and their techniques and their little movements and things like that, because I do think it really helps. And learning every single thing you can about, like, especially for film anyway, and for screen or for stage too, but like learning every single element I think is incredibly important, because I think sometimes as actors we're like, I'm an actor, that's my job, that's what I do. And I do think it is beneficial to learn every single aspect you can, or try to learn a little bit about it all, about like camera setups, about camera lenses, about, you know, like lighting, cinematography, like learning. Just it doesn't mean you have to do the thing, it's just like learning little techniques. It can help. It's the same with like stage. It's like learning, you know, lighting, learning sound, like learning all those things. I feel like it's like incredibly important to understanding what you're doing. I think it's something that's very beneficial, and again, it's like only going to better, I think, your career and your creativity.
Totally. I think we definitely, as actors, think there's like, oh, we're on set in this universe and we are the center of it. And everyone just revolves around, until you get to set and you realize absolutely not. No one cares about you. They're just like, can you hurry up and cry on command so we can go home? Like, they've been there since 4 a.m.
Oh, for sure. And like, really, it's like, I don't know, when you're on set, it's like you are, to me anyway, this is how I view being in shows. It's like you're an ensemble. Like the crew is, you are all together. You're all working together to make this one thing. And these people, like hair, wardrobe, everyone's making you as an actor look great on camera. You're bringing a great performance, but like they're doing their job so well too, that the reason why things look good or sound good is because of the crew. And I love the crews, and like I make a very big point to get to know the crew whenever I'm on set, and I think that that's also a very important thing. It's like you got these people are working their ass off in a thing, and you're all working together to bring this thing to life. And I love crews. I love them so much. They work their ass off, and they're often so kind and cool to work with. And I think that to me is very important when I'm on set is and like making sure like you're all an ensemble. Like it really bothers me when people isolate, and I know people need time when you're like, I need to get into whatever, but when you get isolated on set, you're like, oh, that kind of sucks. Like, you know, you want to like hang out, or you want to like get to know each other, especially if you're working with people for like long period of time. I just did a show, Small Achievable Goals, on CBC, and that ensemble was so fun to work with. We got along so well. We hung out all the time, like on set, and just like goofed and laughed, and like, yeah. So, and the crew too. The crew was a part of it. It was just a very good, warm, like family feeling. And I think that's something, like, if I were to give any advice to anyone who's like new to like a set or anything, is like, get to know your crew and like, you know, do your best, because there's a lot of names, but you can at least know who they are a bit and what they do. especially there's lots of grips running around, and you try your best to like get to know the grips, but you're like, they're running around so much. Like your camera ops and those people, they're around all the time. So you're like, and your sound people, like your wardrobe, your hair, your makeup, like it's just everybody's coming together. And so, yeah, when an actor thinks they're the center, you're like, no, man. Like, yeah, we work our butt off and we bring the characters to life, but there's so much going on around too that also helps with that. So it's yeah. I sometimes I get sad because I'm like, I feel like crews don't get the same love, and I'm like, they deserve the same love because they're working much longer, much harder. I find like, so I love my crews, love them.
Since being in this industry, has there been anything surprising to you?
Surprising. No, the only thing that I will say is kind of surprising is how Canada doesn't, like, I guess, support its own industry. Mm-hmm. Canada has a very difficult time just supporting and building up its own industry. And it's a money thing. We don't have as much money. We definitely don't have as much people as the United States. There are 300 million more people than we are. We don't have the same amount of money. And also and I think that's what's happening in the world right now is like we relied on the US for so long, and now we're realizing the consequences of that. And I think, and I think hopefully, I would hope that moving forward, our industry starts to go, okay, how can we sustain ourselves and create things ourselves? Because Canada creates really good stuff. There's a lot of really good stuff going on right now. All of the great American shows you see are often Canadian crews, Canadian, so you're like, we got great teams up here. We just don't have the money, and it's hard. So that was one thing that was quite not shocking, but I was like, that I've learned over the years, that you're like, man, it really is hard to be. And like, I'm very adamant of being like, I want so hard to prove that we can do it in Canada, that I don't as an actor have to move to the United States or get my visa or whatever, that I can do it here. But it slowly, and it's hard. It's really hard. And it's like, yeah, I guess you kind of have to go to the States to like, and then you go to the States and Canada, you get a little bit famous, and Canada goes, they're ours, but they're ours. And you're like, guys, we've been here the whole time. Like, what are you talking about? And like, it's like Quebec does a really great job of this, which I don't understand why the rest of Canada doesn't follow just what Quebec does. Quebec has its own star system. They did their own version of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't understand how. I'm like, why haven't we done something like that? Like, it's very interesting, and it's upsetting. And like in Canada too, we only have 2 networks, and they're both great, and I've worked for both of them, but there's only 2 that you can kind of go to pitch shows. There's no money, so everybody's panicking, and it's like everything gets done on the lowest of budgets. And because we can prove we can do good things on low budgets, they just keep doing that. And so it's really difficult, and I'm hoping that Canada slowly realizes that, oh, maybe we should just build our own thing, like the BBC. Like, it's like UK and Ireland have like really cool industries that they built, and they're small. And I'm like, Canada can do that too. We can do that, no problem. Like, we've got great people. It's just the money. So you're like, how do I find somebody who's got a lot of money, who is just willing to like invest their money in like a new production company or in something, and go, okay, great, let's see what we can do. Yeah. But it's really hard, and people are trying, and everyone's busting their butt, and you're like, but it's crazy to me that in Canada you can be like the lead on multiple TV shows and still not be famous. But you are famous, but like, and you're not getting paid enough money, and you're like, but you do it because you love it. But like in the States, like somebody was saying, they were on a show and they were like, oh yeah, you must be making talking to them, being like, you must be making a lot of money. And she's like, well, like I make like for example, like she's like, I make 30 grand a season or something based off of like how many days she works. And the person's like, I think it was their manager was like, in the States, you would make that in an episode, basically. So you're like, of course it's more appealing to go down there. Mm-hmm. Because up here you feel a little bit, I think people feel underappreciated, and like we have so much talent. Like if you look at like all of some of the best comedians, they're all out of Canada, all of them. Yeah. Some of the best like, because we're very good at making fun of ourselves, but also like just like the humor that Canada has is less like, I don't know how to explain it, but Canada's just very good at humility, I guess.
Yep.
But we're also very like, oh no, you go, yeah, sure, you, yeah. We're the lowest. We're very low we're like very low status, I find, as Canadians. And even the like most famous Canadians are still a bit low status, like in how we perceive ourselves, I think. But that was a big shock for me, that the Canadian industry is like pretty tough to break into, first of all. Like I got very lucky. I got so lucky. I like, and not to say that I didn't work hard. I've worked very hard to get where I am, but also this industry is about breaks. It's about meeting the right people. It's about my whole thing was, I'm going to watch I try my best. I try my true hardest to watch everything I can that is Canadian. I make a point of it, and I make a point of learning who wrote it, who directed it, who's starring in it, if they're Canadian, and then I try to reach out to them being like, hey, I watched your thing, it's great. And I think we forget, and I think Americans are really good at not being afraid to do that stuff. They have no shame. And I think we as Canadians have a bit of shame when it comes to being like, well, it's even like sharing our stuff. I was talking to somebody and it's like, I hate sharing stuff. It feels weird and like gross to like promote myself. And you're like, but we have to. Like, you have to do it. And so I think Canadians have a hard time with that, that Americans don't. And so I think that that's also like plays a bit of a part, which is too bad, because you're like, we should be really like promoting ourselves and really supporting each other and watching each other's stuff and talking about each other's stuff and being like, look at this cool thing. Like the show North of North is so good. Oh, it's new Canadian show. It's so good. It's incredible. It's like a show where you're like, oh, this is awesome. It's in a voice we've never heard. It's so fun, and I'm excited to see what they do next with it. But you're like, there's so much good stuff. There's so much good Canadian stuff out there, films, movies, like indies. And like, that's the other thing. It's like, people don't, like for film anyway, it's like, it's really hard to get a Canadian film a run in a movie, in a theater. Yeah. It's like all blockbusters. It's all American movies. And you're like, we got to figure out a way, which is, I mean, what's happening right now with the CRTC and all of that stuff. We're like trying to like build more Canadian content and being like, hey, if you're gonna, stream in Canada, you got to stream X amount of Canadian content. And it makes sense. You're like, yeah, like, can you imagine a Canadian streamer going to the States and not showing anything from America, like, so it's interesting. And I'm like, yeah, we should be fighting to have more Canadian stuff shown and more Canadian things on, and then giving more money to Canadian arts. Like, it's wild to me when people are like, the arts don't give the arts money, and you're like, but do you watch TV? Do you listen to music? Like, do you know what I mean? It makes me think that, I don't know if you ever saw that show, That's So Raven. It's like, do you watch
TV? My God, yeah.
Do you listen to music? Do you carry a lunchbox? Lasagna. That's what I was like, am I quoting That's So Raven right now?
We're the same vintage, so I know exactly where that's from. Yeah.
So I hope anyone who's thinking of switching into this career and who is maybe coming up in this career or like is young, I really encourage you to watch Canadian made things. Watch them, listen to them, learn about who's making what, learn about who's cool, like who's up and coming right now making cool stuff. Like, you know, my friend Jay Stevens is this incredible up and coming director. They're amazing. They just had a new beautiful film that premiered at TIFF last year, Really Happy Someday, and it's this beautiful film that they made on an extreme low budget, did it all themselves over a year, and it's a beautiful piece of art. And you're like, yeah, you can do that. We can do that. Like, we I think as creators have to start figuring out a way to come together and create stuff together without money. And it's like, it's very guerrilla type filmmaking, but I think you can make, I've always believed that you can make good content for no money as long as the content means something. And you have good people working with you, because obviously you can't make anything for no money and you'll be asking a lot of favors, but I think you can do it for lower to try to build up. And I think making good friends with people who are making cool stuff is very important. And I think being able to schmooze, quote unquote schmooze, is a skill that we need to not be afraid to do. Schmoozing sucks sometimes because you're like, I don't want to. Oh, it's so hard. You got to be on all the time. But I think the silent schmoozing, which is like watching content and reaching out to the person who made that content, is very important. And I think it's a cool skill to try to learn. And like, it's not being like creepy about it. It's just being like, hey, I know we don't know each other, but I just watched your film and I thought it was so good. Congrats, you know, that's it. And they can decide if they want to reach out back to you or not, but you're like, I made the effort, I watched the thing, it's great.
Who wouldn't want to receive a message like that?
Yeah, especially like, Canadian, because we're all,
oh my gosh,
struggling.
Give me my words of affirmation.
Wait, you watched it? How did you watch it?
Yeah, where? Yeah.
Where did you find it? In the back alley? Like, what? Behind the Sky Dome?
Well, with that being said, do you have anything that you're looking forward to coming up?
Do I have anything looking forward to? Well, Wayward is coming out sometime in the fall. I'm not sure when, but that I'm very excited for that, because that is pretty much an all Canadian production. It's Mae Martin's new show. It's Netflix Canada. It's everyone, pretty much the entire cast except for Toni Collette and one of the lead girls is Canadian.
We'll allow it.
We'll allow it. No, and they're wonderful. Like, they're wonderful. We obviously, but in the crew, like the production company, it's all Canadian, and I think it's going to be very exciting and good, and I think it's going to help. The same with the way North of North kind of did with Netflix, is prove that, look, Canada can make good stuff and stuff that people want to watch, and we shouldn't be. I find we also in Canada, I'm going to say this one last thing, but we hide Canada. We make it generic. We make it like it could be the States, but then you're like, you look at things, I don't know, you look at like Letterkenny and Shoresy, and that is or the Trailer Park Boys, and those are so inherently Canadian, and people love it. Like, all over the world, people love it. And you're like, well, I mean, I don't think we should be ashamed to like show who we are. And that's also something like in my work that I'm very much like, no, I want it to be, you know, set in New Brunswick. It's New Brunswick. It's just maybe a fictional town in New Brunswick, because I don't want to make anyone mad. But, you know, like, I think that's another thing. But yeah, Wayward, I'm very excited about. I have a couple things I can't really talk about, but there's a couple. I just filmed, which they did announce that I'm in it, with The Miniature Wife, which should be out in the fall, in the winter next year, 2026. Which was very exciting, with Elizabeth Banks and Matthew McFadden and Zoe Lister-Jones, and it's going to be so funny and so good. And that was an incredible experience too. That cast and crew and the writers and producers, like from Peacock and NBC and all the companies that were Astronaut, a company that was working on it, are so lovely. Like, so lovely. I don't know why I said Astronaut, because that's not the company, but I think I'm thinking of, I don't know what I'm thinking of, but their logo is a little astronaut. But yeah, they were all so wonderful. Like, just a really good, and that show's going to be so fun. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids for adults, basically.
Oh, fun.
Like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids meets like War of the Roses.
Oh my gosh.
And it's insane, and it's so silly, and I think we need more silly. You know, there's like a shift where comedy kind of became dramedies for a while. And that's great. We love them. We love it. We love the truth in comedy, but we need some silly, silly comedy. And I think that's going to be it. And I'm excited for it. And I have a really fun, very ridiculous little part that I pop in and out. So, and I got very lucky to work with Sean Clifford too. So it's like a dream. That's
so
a dream.
Cool.
So yeah, so those are a couple things that are coming up that I'm excited about. You know, I'm just kind of like working on my own stuff and trying my hardest to, you know, create and just be, and you know, and Small Achievable Goals season 2 is starting to film, which is exciting.
Yeah.
So,
that show's so great. Again, I had a patient of mine who loves the show.
Oh, really?
Like she's in her 80s and she's like, I wish we had this when I was going through it.
I know, it's a very important show. Like, not a lot of people are just talking about menopause or talking about women's health issues. Like,
you could never make that show in the States, I swear. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, I don't think
Canada can make it.
No, but they'll watch it because women need it. We need it right now, especially in the world that's happening right now. It's like we have to be talking about women's health, about queer health, about all of those things. It's like stuff that doesn't get spoken about. Like, I didn't know perimenopause was a thing until I did this show. And I went, wait.
I went to medical school. And like we had a day, I think, learning about it. Like, I went to med school.
Easy. That's wild. It's wild that there's like so many different versions of Viagra and like nothing that can help a period.
Like, but like, why would we study women? You're just hysterical men.
We're just here. We're just here.
We're just here to make babies and then die.
Oh my gosh! No, women are incredible. I love them. I love them so much. It's yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
When did you realize when did you realize you wanted to be an actor?
I was an actor in high school. Like, I was with the Vancouver Youth Theatre. I was touring with them for years.
Yeah.
Like, I was like a little theater kid. And then when I went to school, like when I went to X, I did kinesiology because I also really loved like how the body moves in space. But I remember people being like, what the fuck? Like, theater kid Janet's going to do a science degree. And then as it just kind of went on, as again, the tunnel vision focus of like, I want to go to med school now. Okay. The theater kid disappeared. Out of necessity. And then it was the pandemic, just like so many people, right? And the pandemic sucked for everyone, but it really sucked for frontline healthcare workers.
Yes.
And I remember taking a Second City was doing online improv classes for free for healthcare workers.
Oh, and
I took one, and then that started it all. I did all the classes, the conservatory, and I'm like, this is the best. Very similar, like an agent saw me at the conservatory, reached out to me, and then it just kept on going from there. So this was an agent from prior, but my agent now is Maya Ritter at Ritter Talent.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's great. I know your agency, Baxter, right?
Yeah, Baxter.
Yeah. I have a couple friends who are also with him. Like my friend Demi is with him as well too. Just awesome. Such a all fabulous comedians are in there.
Just a lot of comedy in one place.
the best. But
that's
yeah,
so
like I think
cool.
It's awesome. I think I very much can get a little ragey about the industry because it's so different than medicine, and I don't quite comprehend like, what do you mean?
It's hard. The industry is really hard.
It's hard. Like, everyone goes, oh, you must go out for doctor roles all the time. I'm like, yeah, I do, because I think it's funny to have the real doctor, but I never get cast as one, ever.
Yeah.
I don't look like one. I don't look like an old white dude from Britain.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting industry to kind of have that realization of, oh, I'm a 40-something white woman, so I'm very not in demand. I mean, like, the laugh of, like, my agent being like, well, you got being queer going for you. I'm like...
You're like,
cool.
Sweet, thank you.
Excellent. And so, but it's interesting, right? Like, I think that's the interesting thing about the industry is how little control you can have.
Yeah.
And how
no
visual
control.
It is. No control.
You have no
right?
control.
Like,
you have absolutely no control.
Zero.
You do, like, whenever I do an audition, I'll do it like once or twice, and then I'll be like, I'm done, because I'm going to overthink it. And industry is so tough because it does sometimes come down to look. Now it comes down also sometimes to like followers on social media. There's so many outside elements that isn't just about your performance. And I kind of have to go, well, just it wasn't meant for me. I'll keep going and keep trying on the next one. And eventually you'll get something. And you just kind of have to, like, for me anyway, I just have to put it out of my mind and then go from there.
Yeah. And I think and I think that's where, like, I think it is so important to have a Joe job so that you don't have to rely on your art to give you the paycheck all the time, because then desperation comes in, and then it's not fun anymore. And this is supposed to be fun.
Yes. It is supposed to be fun, but it's also work. And like that's the thing too. I think people are like, you're an actor. You must have like, it must be the best time of your life. And you're like, it is. And I love what I do. But like any job, it gets exhausting. And you're like, I'm tired. I'm getting up at like 5 a.m. or like, you know, and you're like, a lot of times on set, you're just sitting around, which I know seems easy, but you're like, for your brain, you're like, what can I do? It's been 3 hours and I'm just in my trailer, which sounds nice. But, you know, sometimes those little trailers are quite tiny. And I know, and I realize I'm very lucky and I, you know, in that. But like, it is funny when people are like, you must love what you do. And I go, sometimes it's like any job. Sometimes you don't. Like, sometimes you take a job 100%. And you're like, this isn't great. Yeah. I'm not enjoying this, but I'm going to do it because whatever. It's like any job, it is. And like I do love it because I do love my job. But it's like the same as like some people love, you know, being a doctor, or some people love being a psychiatrist, or some people love that, but then you have good days and bad days. It's just it's the same.
Totally. Yeah.
Can I ask 100%. You one more question?
Hell yeah.
Have you watched The Pit?
So I get asked this question. The reason why I laugh is I get asked this question all the time. And so the reason why so the answer is no. And it's not because I'm like, ugh, I hate medical stuff. I love medical shows. But it's because I have been told that it is so realistic. And I'm like, I don't want to watch work after work.
Yeah,
I'm living this all day, every day. But I've been told, like, Noah Wiley is amazing. ER, come on. Like,
well, yeah,
so good.
He's so good on this. I just was interested to be like, is it as real as everyone is saying? Like,
I've heard it is from, like, my nursing colleagues, like, some of my doctor friends who are like, oh, I watched it, but it was, like, too stressful. And it reminded me of when my dad said he couldn't watch The Office because he works in an office and was like, I can't watch this. It's too like
it's
real life.
It's the same. I can't watch, like, I couldn't watch that improv movie, Don't Think. I couldn't watch it. I started to and I was like, I can't do this. I think they were doing Zip Zap Zop or something. I was like, I can't watch this. I was like, I can't do it. Can't do it. And I love everybody in it, but I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah, I love it.
Too real. Too real.
It's too real, right?
Too close to home.
But I think, you know, there's going to be a day when I'll be like, okay. But, like, I can watch Grey's because it's not like real medicine at all.
No, it's not
I can
real.
watch, you know, The Resident. It's not like real medicine at all. Scrubs, very close to real life. ER, extremely close to real life. But, yeah, I think... Yeah, I'll have to wait and wait till I need a Noah Wiley fix.
That's fair enough. He's there. He's very good, and the head nurse is incredible. But I can see it. Even for me, I was like, "Oh my god, this is what it's really like, isn't it?"
Yeah,
you're like crying every episode. You're like, You're like, this
I
is awful
I can't
for
do
doctors.
it. I already do it on my day to day. I don't want to. When I get home, all I want to watch is like K-pop Demon Hunters.
Fair enough. I want to watch is people are like, you must watch so many comedies, and I go, I don't actually. I love comedies, but I tend to go towards like thrillers or like different things, and I think that's just because my brain is like, I need to not be at work.
Yeah,
even though watching TV kind of feels like you're watching work after work, but it's still good entertainment. So,
do you have any final words of wisdom or advice?
Final words of wisdom. I think this is like also just like the best improv lesson too, is like, don't be afraid to fail. It's okay to fail. This industry, you're going to fail a lot. You're going to get a lot more no's than you are yeses. And you can't let that discourage you from just continuing on. If you love this work and you want this work, and I don't mean to be famous, I mean to like want to do the work because you love to act and you love to bring joy to like people and you want to like bring stories to life, I think don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to get the no's. You're going to get one big project. You're going to get so close to it, and then somebody else is going to get it, and you're going to think about it for the rest of your life. And that's okay. That's good. It's going to make you better. And like, just keep continuing on and trying to grow. And just know that the industry is like hard. It's hard. It's going to be hard. And people have to know that it's very difficult, and you have to be prepared to just kind of suffer a lot. But it's okay, because then you get the one win and you're like, this is huge and it feels good. And then you're going to have a dip again, and then you're going to come back up, and it's going to be okay. And if you really love doing this job and you love doing the work, then you'll just power through it. But like, don't be afraid to fail, and don't let the no's outweigh the one yes, Like, that's, I think, a big lesson. It's like, you're going to get a lot of no's, and that's okay, because you are going to get some yeses,
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and thank you, Tricia, for being my guest this week. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with me and with my guests. I felt like I was chatting with an old friend. We had never met before. We've never met in person, but I feel like I could have chatted with them for the rest of the day. It was wonderful speaking with you. Thank you so much. And I hope you all will tune in next week for another episode of Second Act Actors. Bye.